All right. Good evening, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here talking with my friend and colleague, Demian. So I was here several months ago, actually, talking about a different topic. At the time, we were talking about vector graphics for the web, and I was here with Alex Danilo from Google. I think I saw some of you there. I recognize some faces. And at the end, I showed, I think, a very early version of Project Comet. And after the talk, Peter asked if we could come back when Comet would be ready and released to talk more about it. So that's why we're here tonight. I want to share a little bit about Demian and I. We go back. Demian started at Adobe several months ago. Yeah, about 8 months ago. But we go back a little more. Demian used to run this conference in Brazil, where he's from, and invited me to speak there several times. And I was talking about the web, and so we shared that interest in the web. And then more recently, Demian joined us on the Comet project. And actually, the web is really the genesis for what we're talking about tonight. So before we show you a demo of the product, I wanted to kind of tell you a little bit about the story. Now, the title said Project Comet, but we just released this week. The software is publicly available and it's been branded, so it's not called Project Comet anymore. It's called Adobe Experience Design CC. That's the official name of it, and it's a preview. So it's a kind of a beta, but you can we'll provide links for that. But you can access it today, and it's free, and you can experiment with it. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the genesis of the product and its root in the web, because it's really a story about, it's about design first, then it's about user experiences and how those relate to the web, but more broadly to all kinds of user experiences and on mobile, and also to a large extent about collaboration. So it's really about making visual things, and that explains how we got there. So why does it have its roots in the web? Well, I've been at Adobe for about 5 years, and I joined to actually work on the web for Adobe, and I ended up running this group called Web Platform and Authoring. Our team was doing contributions to web browsers like Chrome and Safari, and we also have Adobe has a number of products for doing web development and web production, like Dreamweaver. We also created an editor called Bracket. We had products like Reflow. We had edge fonts. We had services around it. So there's a number of things we're doing. And we're also really busy talking a lot to our customers about the problems they were having and how to do better web development. And we're really approaching it from the web angle. How do you do responsive design? All those things. And talking a lot to customers, one thing we realized is that they were having problems that were very, very early on in the creation of content or websites that were really fairly generic. And this is really what we zoomed in on, because we were having conversation about web production and how to create better CSS and all that. And they were saying, yeah, that's very interesting, but let me tell you about those problems that I have, and I really like you to help me with that. So that's why we kind of focused on those things, and customers were not screaming at us like this, but they were having very, very clear problems, and can summarize them in really 3 broad categories. The first one was that to actually design an experience, a web experience, but also mobile experiences, all kinds of experiences really that they wanted to express. They had to use many tools. They had to very typically they would have to use a visual tool to actually mock up things they wanted to describe. Then they would have to use another tool to wire the experience, because it's really hard to convey transitions and some level of interactivity with just words. So they were having tools that would let them connect their visual designs in kind of a somewhat interactive user experience. And then they typically would have to find a way to share that, which was sometimes leading them to yet another tool. And then finally, they once they got approval on all their designs, they would have to go find a way to communicate the assets and share the assets with developers. So there were 4 kind of problems they were trying to solve for, and having to try to assemble and scramble between tools and move assets between tools, etc. So that seemed, I don't know, raise your hand if like the problems, if you've not run into any one of those problems in the past as either on the receiving end as a web developer or as a designer. But we heard this real loud and clear. So that was the first thing. Second thing is the friction that this was causing, and there's people talking to us were talking a lot about so some of the hurdles I just described, like you go from one tool to the other and it's not easy and it's taking time. The other is that they really wanted to have focused tools. So they people were talking to us about sometimes competitor tools, saying, hey, we want tools that are really focused. They're purpose built. They're for one problem. We don't want a huge cockpit, right? We're not flying a 747. We want a fast jet engine for the things we're doing in UX design. So we want something that's tailored for designing user experiences, and then those user experiences can be for different purposes, like web, mobile, etc. And then the last thing is the focus on performance. That was a very, very clear request from the people we talked to. People were talking to us about, we want tools that are tools that are fast, but also that allow us to be very productive in what we do. What we heard is like when you design a website or when you design a mobile application, there are a lot of repetitive tasks you have to do. You do screens that look alike, that share elements. You work a lot with lists. There are styles that are shared that you may want to reapply. You want to do variations of your designs. There's a number of elements that you deal with when you do visual design that are specific to that space and for where a tool can help. At the same time, there's lots of things you don't do when you do UX design, and they shouldn't be in the way of your work. So those were the problems we heard loud and clear. And again, that came from us talking initially to web designers, but then we realized that this was a very generic problem because first off, web designers very often also do, or designers involved in web design very often are also tasked to do mobile applications. And when we kind of ended up talking to other designers, we found that they basically had the same problem. So what we ended up setting out to build from the ground up is a tool. So those are kind of screenshots, and Demian is going to do a demo later on of how to use a tool. But we focused more than a tool. We wanted to really help solve a problem and provide a solution to the problems that I just described. So the first area of the tool is to really help people doing UX design and help them with the visual tools they need and everything they need and no more. So it's a very focused tool for the purpose of doing the visual design you need when you design experiences. The second thing is you want interactivity. So you want to be able to wire those things up so that you can say, when I click here, here's a new screen that would show, here's the type of transition I'll see, and be able to actually navigate through the experience you're designing. And this is, removing barriers so that you can, we like this expression of saying designing at the speed of thought, so that you can design as, with as little friction as possible and get to the point where you've expressed the experience you really want to see on a mobile device or on a web browser or on a desktop application. So those are like key, two big pillars, I would say, of the application. And then finally, you want to share, and there's two aspects of sharing. There's the one where if I'm a web designer or I'm a user experience designer, I'm creating that experience in a tool. Most likely, somebody asked me to do that, and I have stakeholders or collaborators and people who need to see my work, and I want them to see that with high fidelity. So we built a tool where, in addition to being able to do design prototypes, you can also share very easily the experience you've designed, so that you're sure that your stakeholders or collaborators or clients see exactly what you mean, because that's the problem people were talking a lot about, is that they would have approximations of what they had expressed, not the exact thing. The second aspect of sharing is once you've got approval and everybody's agreeing on a design, you're either yourself using the assets when you go into production with your design for say build your website or your mobile application, or you want to hand it over to somebody. So which is, we call that extraction usually, but it's an aspect of collaboration and sharing in a way. So that last part as well is also supported in the tool, so you can very easily get things out of the designs you've done. So for example, if you want to extract an icon, or if you want to extract images that have been used in your design, you can very easily get those so that they can be used in actual development. So that's what we set out to build, and now you're actually going to see the tool in action.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello. No, yeah, now it's working. It wasn't before. Awesome. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope you don't fall asleep. This is cool, I promise. All right. How many of you are designers? Very cool. Developers? That's a mix. That's awesome. So let's see it in action. All right, so the first thing you see when you open Adobe XD, formerly known as Project Comet, is this welcome screen. Here you can create projects for phones, tablets, websites, or infinite canvas if you want to start from scratch, or if you want custom artboards, you can enter the dimensions here in pixels and you get those artboards there. You also have some UI kits to help you create projects for iOS, Google Material Design, and Microsoft Windows. And it's just a matter of opening these things. You can copy the pieces you want and bring them back to your projects. I will do a sample in a bit using the Google Material one because we're at Google. But before I get there, I want to show you the sample file. So when you go to the website, we're going to share the link adobe.ly/xd to download it. The first thing you see is here, so please open the sample file so you get an idea. This is not only a sample file, but it's also a very good and simple tutorial. So by the end of it, you get through the steps and you'll be pretty much good to go with Adobe XD. As you can see here, you have your design tools on the left. You have a property inspector on the right, so everything is contextual. So if you select one artboard, for example, you get the properties related to that artboard. If you select an element, then you get the properties of that element. And everything's super fast. So like Vincent was mentioning, performance is a feature here, and we're really focused on the best performance possible. We created a brand new rendering engine from scratch. Everything here just flies. We have some samples with 200, 300, 500 artboards, and everything just works. All right, so here you have some artboards. Let's say I'm designing the second one here, and it's time to design this list of items that will repeat, right? This is like a result of some items of my latest adventures. Nowadays, in existing tools, you have to copy, paste, move it down, and then do it for that one. You get hints and everything with Comet to help you along the way. But now that's time, if you need to change or explore different things, you have to go one by one and count how many times you're hitting Shift plus and down. This is really, really painful. For that, we invested all that energy and research, and we came up with this tool called Repeat Grid tool. So you just select the items you want to repeat, and you just repeat them. And if you need to adjust the margin of your grid, you just adjust it here visually. So we went on and we did more research, and we found out that people need more. The styles have to be global, but content can be unique. So I can start changing. Here we are at Google, and this is unique. And if I change, let's say, like I mentioned before, a style, everything changes. So it's very easy as a designer to keep exploring different options. For example, I can send this guy to the back, and I can keep exploring different options here and centering it very, very easily. Another thing that's super cool here is these images are repeating. We don't want those. We want real images here. So you can go to your Finder. Let me get some images here. Just website image. Let's say search result. This is for food, but you get the idea. If I get one image and I drag to the grid, that image flows across the whole grid. But if I bring a group of images, those duplicate there. And what is cool about this is that if I zoom out and let's say I move it here and I'm working on this tablet version of my design, I can also repeat this way. And again, everything is contextual, so you can change properties individually. Do you guys like that? Awesome. All right, moving forward. Now, let's say I want to bring an avatar for this guy right here. I could, of course, do what you guys should expect. For example, you can get this image, bring it here, and then you draw a mask, something to be your mask. Then you select both objects. You go to Object, Mask with Shape. Then you can double-click, and you can edit the background or the mask itself. And the guy who did this is right here, so you can talk to him if you want. Awesome. But thinking about keeping the pace as a designer, I don't want to keep slowing down with different things. I can just select the image I want, that same image, and I just drag it from Finder here. And when I use this process, this is now the feel of this object, and if I change the size, the image never gets distorted. And again, if I need to control this mask, then I use the other method that you saw before. All right, moving forward. So in this sample, that's pretty much it. So like Vincent was mentioning, at one point, you as a designer, you need to communicate what's in your head for this app. Like you want to tell how the flow is, how this whole project, how this whole app will behave, and you need to test that. And we have this old quote from IDEO, like a prototype is worth 1,000 meetings. And that's super true, right? So if you can show that not only to a stakeholder, but also to a developer, you can convey your story very easily. The scenario nowadays in different tools is that, okay, this is my design tool. I finished all my assets. Now I want to prototype this. I have to export all the assets, maybe all the artboards, import to these different tools to prototype, draw crazy hotspots, and then it's a very manual and repetitive process, right? Not here. So this is, look how hard it is now. I will move my mouse here, and that's it. Now I'm in prototype mode, and I can start prototyping things. I can do it again, so let's do it again. Prototype. So all that complexity of exporting, it's not here anymore. And I can start, for example, as soon as the user taps on this guy here, I want it to go to this screen. And then if you preview, everything just works. Then let's say when I click on this guy here, I want to go back to the first screen. And now the transition will be slide right. I don't have to recompile anything. I just go there and it just works. I can also record a video of this running, so I can show up a user or a stakeholder. This is how things are running. But if I don't want a video, I want to really like export to different, to expose it to different users and stakeholders, I can share this. Oh no. Uh-oh. I'll fix it. Don't worry. Creative Cloud. Where are you? There we go. I just need to log out and log in. This is a demo, right? So it happens. Do you guys have any questions?
Could you say the website again slowly?
adobe.ly/xd. Oops, not this one.
You have a prediction when it's going to be available for Windows boxes?
We have a team dedicated to Windows, and that will end later in the year. And now you know my email, so you can send me emails.
Is this part of Creative Cloud as well?
Yes.
Separate product?
It is part of Creative Cloud. It's free for now, so because we're in preview, you can create a free account, a Creative Cloud account, and if you have a paid one, you can keep using the paid one, and just it shows up here in your Creative Cloud app, and you can install it. And we plan to have monthly updates, so you'll be able to get monthly updates. Let's see. I'll save this in my desktop, so I just have to refresh. Experience design. I can open that one that I was playing with, and now I can share. All right, it was just another testing account that I was playing with. Here I can give a title to my prototype. So let's say my prototype. I can drag an image to become the thumbnail of my project. So let's do that. And I can see my start artboard. I can change this if I want to. And I can create that link. So now it's uploading all these assets to Creative Cloud. And once it's done, if the internet helps, stop downloading videos there, guys, please. OK, then I can get this link, and I can share with anyone I want. And the same flow I created is here. And you can get feedback, and you can test. If you're running this on a mobile device, you don't get this extra stuff. And then if you save this to your home screen, you get this as the icon. So it's like looks like a real app. And let's say now the client wants this to be green. In different tools, you'll be like, oh, that, blah, blah. But now, you just go here in design mode, and you change it to green, and you reshare. Just share again. He updates the same link. It's doing that that magic again. And if you refresh that link, now you get the right one. And you can do a lot more. For example, if you don't have wires connecting these artboards, you can use your arrows to go through the slides here to the artboards here, so you can like mix like a slideshow, a presentation, and that's super helpful to convey your story. All right.
Is the sharing review, does it require a Creative Cloud membership, or is it totally open?
To download the app, you need to have a Creative Cloud, an Adobe ID, so you can.
Like, if you share the link with me, do I need to have?
No, you don't. Anyone can see that. That's a public link. Yeah, anyone can see that link. And this is our first public preview. We're gonna get more updates every month. So, for example, now you can revoke the links, but it's coming soon. So all these different things are coming soon. Yes, there's a question there.
So this is if Muse married Dreamweaver, that's what this is, pretty much?
That's a different thing.
Okay.
This is targeting designers who want to create high fidelity designs and run prototypes to validate the ideas, define the flow.
All right.
And once it's done, then you can export.
So this is a very realistic wireframe? Is that?
It is a tool
is
for
it more?
designers creating user experiences.
Like with Muse and Dreamweaver, I mean, you can transfer that to the server and have it be a working website.
Yes, yes. It generates
this
code.
the same
This
thing?
doesn't generate code.
Thank
Yeah.
So if I have a small monitor, this will be really tiny. Do you have a different view?
What do you mean?
You can, like for instance, if you see this on a like 14-inch monitor, it will be really tiny.
You mean like the elements here?
So do you have any different views you can choose?
Not yet, not yet. Like, yeah, but she wants to have the whole UI like bigger, I think.
You know, if you have like a small monitor.
Yeah, she was asking about like having the UI bigger. So, for example, one of the things that we're gonna have in the future is for Windows, it's gonna run on a tablet, so it's gonna have all the good usability that the Surface requires. So that's coming, but it's not there yet. Yeah. Yes.
I have a question. So in the post-Retina world with the high-density pixel displays, right, pixel is no longer a pixel. So I mean, say a designer designs something with, say, I don't know, 768 pixels wide, right? How do you sort of display that to developers who are developing for a
Yeah.
variety of platforms?
Yeah, I will get there. So I will do something from scratch in a bit, but to answer your question, now that this is all validated, this is all good to go for production, you can export different assets from here. And once you do that, for example, let's say I want to export this icon here, this logo here. I go to File, Export, and I can export asset. First of all, I need to tell XD in which resolution I'm designing at. In this case, 1x. So this is kind of the base of everything. And then if I choose PNG and I select web, I'm going to get two PNGs created, one in 1x and one in 2x. So you can give to different developers. If it's iOS, 1x, 2x, and 3x PNGs. And if it's Android, with all these different resolutions that the Android platform requires. You can also export SVG, and that's just one file, and it's highly optimized SVG. So I don't know if you heard in Illustrator we have amazing SVG export. We have the amazing export here as well, and you can even minify the code if you want to make it smaller and faster to transfer. Yes?
Yes.
I'm getting.
If you, as a designer, if you have multiple iterations of this one flow, where would you see that? Is there like a taskbar where you can toggle between the different iterations?
Like versions? Yeah, so we're like I said in the beginning, this is the very, very beginning. This is the first preview we have. We have a website that Vincent will mention in the end here called adobexd.uservoice.com. And this is also very different because we're working with designers since day one. We're gathering feedback, and here you can send that feature request. And you can, let's say, version. Let's see if there's one version. Yeah, version control. So that is there, and you can see this feature is in our backlog. And you can provide comments on how you expect that to work. That's coming, but it's not there yet. Yeah. I was planning to show a lot more, but I'm getting questions, so that's fine, I assume. No, that's fine. That's fine. This is for you guys. So.
How does it already, or how will XD handle responsive design?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see. I just want to highlight that responsive behavior is expected, and we're tackling not only that, but also adaptive design, like buttons that can adapt and everything, like elements that can adapt. It's not here yet, but it's in our backlog, and that will come. If you guys really want that, please upvote things here, and we can make it happen. Okay?
I had a quick question.
Yes.
If I had a stakeholder and I sent the link out for review, are you going to, in the future, have an area for their comments?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's also here. Feedback and commenting, it's coming soon as well. All right, any other questions before? I was just going to show one thing here. That was the initial plan. To create something from scratch. How much time do I have? 2? Oh, 15, okay. All right, let's say I use this UI kit here on the welcome screen. And here you can see it has a lot of artboards, and all the components you need for Google Material Design project is here. So I can create a new project. Because this is mostly web, I can use the artboard tool that's here to use a preset and get my artboard here to start designing my website. If I need to change the background of this artboard, I can do it. I can then design, let's say, my header here. You can adjust things and position them using the PI. I can do this here too, or it snaps to the place there. Let's say this is my header. I don't want borders. I can go back to that place and get, let's see, I want to get this guy here. Can copy, go back there, paste. And then you can start using the pieces here. For example, I can get this guy, paste here, then I can This is going to be my background. I can also use this. If you hold Shift and if you hold Command, you can direct select on elements, so you don't have to keep double clicking to enter. You just hold Command and you click there. So now I can, oops, there we go. Oh, I didn't get the, let me do that again. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So now I can have this search bar here. And you get the idea, right? I can get, let's say, a card from the material design world here. Then I can just put it here. And I can start, like, let's say this is a website where I'm going to showcase different apps. So I can have different images here. Let's say I have this screenshots of my amazing apps. I just drag it there, and it's now there. Now let's say I want to have multiple instances of this guy to represent different cases. So I just use the repeat grid, repeat those elements. Then I will make more, give a little bit more space. That's fine.
Repeated anything that was in that box.
Yes, yes. And what is cool about, let's say now I need to have this image to be my avatar, right? So after the fact, I can come here, select all those avatars, and drag it, and it populates the whole thing. And you see, if I let's say this is the wrong one, I can get a specific one and just move just to this one, so I can fix that. And like you saw, content can be unique. So you can change the text there. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time here because you guys saw pretty much everything. But let's say I want to create, at some point, I want to create an icon. For example, that pin that goes on maps. And I will show you two things. First, the new pen tool. So you can draw as expected. And now if I need to add an anchor point to this pen tool, I don't have to change the tool. I just roll over here, and I can get a new anchor point right there. It has handles there. If I need to get rid of the handles, just double click. So I really thought, how could we create the best pen tool out there and make it simple for people to achieve things? And even before I finish this path, I can change the colors. I can do all these different things, and it just works. So going back to that icon idea, let's say it will be a red, or let's say pink icon. Here I'll do like something in the middle. This will not have a border. And I can use the Boolean operations here to add them together or subtract. And this is non-destructive, so you can go back in time. To edit this, now I have to convert it to a path. So path, convert to path. Now I can use the pen tool. So if I double click, now I'm kind of using the pen tool. I can then move this down, and to get rid of the handles, boom. And now I can have shadow, and this is how you can get a nice icon there. Super, super fast. And the last thing I want to show, that's kind of what's new, what's coming, as potentially coming. This is a prototype, trying to keep designers at their pace and everything. This is just a prototype to validate the idea. So if you guys like it, if you guys see value, we can investigate and see if we can bring it to the product. So here I have another variation of the tool where we're exploring things. So like you saw before, if I need to duplicate or replicate these items, it used to be manual. Now I can use the repeat grid to repeat these items. But now, yeah, it's already doing something here, but that's fine. Now I have this different content there, and to make it more real, I can select the item here, and how about dragging, let's see, a text file with names, and it populates the whole grid. Yes?
So like when you drag all those information in there, how does it populate all of the like those in order or random?
In order like from where you're selecting from. So if the text field has that order, it will keep that order. If it's a selection in Finder that has a different order, it will keep that different order.
So
It's the selection, yeah, or the file here.
Is it per file or is it inside the file?
In this case, it's how the text file is. So it's this order. Just yeah, for now. But this is landing very soon. This is landing very soon. This specific one, dragging text files. No. If you change the text file, you have to redrag here. But we're trying to solve that in this prototype, and I'll get there in a second. All right. So how about you need something more, like you're using your own data, but let's say you want to have, for this guys here, I want to use some city names randomly. So we created this is the prototype, this panel called Designer Data, where the data panel, where you can have this pre-baked data, and you can iterate there.
So this isn't real data.
This is pre-baked data, yeah. This case, yeah.
It's to demonstrate to your stakeholder that when we wire it all up, we'll get real names and real cities in here, but rather than say name one, name two,
Yes,
name three.
get rid of the Lorem Ipsum problem, yeah. But to make things a little bit more real, how about bringing some things for the web? So let's say I'm creating this side navigation, and I want to bring real content. So I can go to this website and just click on this list of repeated items, and now it's pulling that to my design. Is it useful for you guys? Very cool. All right, moving forward here. Let's say I'm going to this website. Oh, let's do it in a better way. So I will go to Instagram. This is my Instagram. And let's say I want to populate this with my images. So I go there, I click, so it's going to download all those images here, pulling from Instagram. I could do the same with titles, like you saw before, just point to things that are repeating, and you will show up here. And the prototype that we're kind of asking if it's necessary, let's say now it's like one way, right? I'm just bringing something that's on the web, I'm bringing to my design. Let me take a picture of you guys. Yeah, look like a little happier. All right, then I will post this to Instagram. It's now posted. And if I click on this guy right here, come on, demo gods. There we go. So now he knows the source of those images, and it's bringing that image right here. So the file knows where things are coming from. So this is a prototype. If you guys really like, please go to user voice, upvote these things, and we can work as hard as possible to make it happen.
Can you show that Instagram thing again? Like what did you do? You just
That was magic.
totally missed.
No, I just select an image that I wanted to repeat, and then I use this data prototype panel, and then I...
Type in your link.
Yeah, here. I entered, it could be any website, for example, behance.net.
And then it will go into Behance account.
Any website. It doesn't have to have an account. So, for example, I want this set of images to go here. And I want this title, let's say this title here, to be the names. And you can keep bringing data. So the prototype that we're asking is like, do you guys want that connected? So if the things change, you can refresh and update. All right, that's it. I think everything I wanted to cover. If you guys have any questions, we're going to stay around, and hopefully this will help you become like a better designer, do things faster, and you don't need to tell your clients you're doing that, and things get faster. Just kidding. Thank you. Can I go back there?
All right. Thanks, Demian and Vincent. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. So for those of you didn't catch the link earlier, that's where you can actually get the software. Again, the only thing you'll need is to actually create an account. You can create a free account, and then it's part of the Creative Cloud subscription. For now, yep.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is EXD vector based? Like
Yes, it's a vector tool. It is. Yes. Thanks. Yes. I'm sorry, I can.
She wants to know if you have tutorials available.
Yes, we do. Yes. Yes.
You can go to the website. There's a learn sections on the nav here.
Yep.
Learn and support, and it's me speaking, so you'll see me.
Yes.
Would you be able to import your own vectors?
Yes. You can actually cut and paste from Photoshop and Illustrator, and from Illustrator you'll get vectors. Yeah. All right. Then as Demian said several times, this is, we've really engaged with users. It's really important in the way we've actually built and thought of the product. So we've worked with a lot of designers like you guys to define the initial version of the product, but it's a beginning. As you saw, there's lots of requests already. You guys have ideas and suggestions, and we've shown you some prototype of things we were considering to put in the product. So please join, help us define, make it work for you. Vote on user voice. We're working hard. I manage engineering, so we're working hard to do monthly releases, which is new. That's new at Adobe. We don't do monthly releases. A lot of us, as I shared, have a background in the web and web browsers, so we're trying to get to a model which is more the way web browsers update, not in the mechanics of it, but more of the cadence. And where you can have the conversation is on those. So user voice that Demian already showed. We've got forums where you can ask questions, and that's the second link here, forums.adobe.com/community/experience design. That's where you can go for that. And then we've got a Facebook page, YouTube feed where you'll see lots of videos of my friend here. And and you can follow us on Twitter or ask questions on Twitter. I mean, all those avenues are great to talk to us. But again, we really want to make this the best tool. And on the engineering side, we can work on the performance and GPU acceleration and all that. But the design of the app itself really needs to be guided by what your needs are. Okay, so thanks a lot for the opportunity to talk here. And